Hey guys, in this video, we're actually going to have a round table with Jonathan, just a Q&A, asking questions about different insurance things and stuff that may help you in your whole perspective of life, not just mortgages, but also auto, life insurance, and so forth. So stay tuned.
Hey everyone, welcome again to The Buzz, Coffee and Real Estate. We just wanted to jump in with Jonathan Caudill again, really just more of a roundtable discussion. Josh and I, as real estate agents, a lot of times we are helping counsel and point people in the right directions on not just real estate, because we're having to help structure their debt, structure their income in a way that gets them into position to be able to buy a house, sell a house, make a move. And so really just wanted to kind of throw some odds and ends questions in there and be able to talk a little more of the holistic picture of how some aspects of insurance go into really a lifestyle that is successful and that is well planned and that is fruitful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I know when we were kind of chatting, the different things that you offer. So one of those, we got mortgage, we got auto, we got life insurance, we've got health insurance and so forth. If you're meeting with somebody as let's say it's the first time you've ever met them, they've been, like for me, for instance, I was nationwide for 20 years or something just because I didn't know any different. And that's what my parents did and so forth. So that's kind of the normal routine anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're first time meeting with somebody and you're kind of going through those things, what's that conversation look like?
Well, it's very simple. I try to keep it as simple as possible, Josh. We try to do an insurance review. We try to collect the information that somebody has to get a customized picture of what's going on in their life, right? What makes sense? What risks do they have? How do we protect those things, right? And by putting it down on a piece of paper and having those items addressed, it helps give them a more customized insurance program to protect those areas that need to be protected.
Yeah.
Obviously, buying a house, one of those things to be protected is the mortgage, right? Yeah. I mean, again, we've talked about how that's a sizable, if not the most sizable investment somebody has. What happens if you lose an income? What does that look like? What do choices would somebody have to be make if they hadn't done proper planning on the front end? Those are questions to be asked at the home start.
Yeah. So I've got a new marriage. We just bought a house. Sure. We're in love. It's amazing, wonderful. Oh, one of us just had a accident that's going to put us out of work for a significant, we're talking some months here, sure, not just days.
Sure.
How does some of that get navigated insurance-wise?
Well, it depends on what type of planning somebody's done, Cameron, right? I mean, and what parameters they have in place. Your particular example is showing a disability claim, right? Obviously, somebody may have some employer-provided disability plans. They may not, depending on what their situation is. What does that look like? What type of loss of income are they going to have in the household? What type of choices are they now going to be required to make? Are they going to still be able to pay that mortgage? Because once they sign, with a lender, and once they do go under contract, buy a home, and get a mortgage, that mortgage payment comes due each month.
Yeah.
All right. Regardless of if somebody's disabled or not. Yeah. So protecting for that is very important.
And then what about if you have a spouse pass away?
Yeah, that's certainly, those are not the most attractive things to talk about, right? But it is real life, and real life things happen. Yeah, I mean, we do help folks plan for that and are glad to be able to do so.
Yeah.
And be a trusted source for them.
What's is there certain time frames or situational changes or things to reevaluate? So like if I'm getting married, maybe that's the perfect time. Having a kid, another time. Yeah. Buying a home, buying a new car, whatever. When do we say, hey, you should reach out to your agent on that?
All those things that you mentioned are very important life changes. How about throw a couple extra at you? Change of a job, right? It's a life-changing event, right? That sometimes people think about because that directly impacts their income in most cases, and sometimes substantially. But the big events are important, but also, too, having a regular, let's say annual checkup or review with your insurance agent is important to have. It may not be to buy anything or to adjust anything. It may be just to say, hey,
you're good.
You're fine. Everything looks to be looking good, right?
Right.
Good to see you. We'll keep
preventive
things.
maintenance.
Yeah, it's just preventive maintenance. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned something that I had just never thought of before. You were talking about home insurance and car insurance in more of a rural situation and then somebody making a move into something more urban, or vice versa. Can you talk through kind of how some of that?
Yeah. So you mentioned a great point, Cameron. There are different variables that impact what you're looking for is the cost of these policies. Typical rule of thumb, the more rural a property is, the further it away is from a fire station or approved drafting point, water source, the higher the home insurance premium is going to be. Typically in a rural area, the lower your auto insurance premiums will be.
Just for lack of traffic?
Lack of traffic, lack of claims frequency, those type things impact rating. Okay. Now, there's exceptions to every rule. I have to preface that, right, with those things. So having that conversation is important. Whereas on the flip side, being in a more urban area, your proximity to a fire station is typically very close, so response times are better. So you have better what's called protection classes. And then auto insurance, though, on the flip side, typically tends to be a little bit higher. There's more frequency of claims. Yeah. Okay. Those are typical rule of thumb. So very valid point that you made there.
So you could see somebody moving in town, out of town, and they could have, within that move, their insurance could maybe flip-flop a little bit.
It can. It very certainly can. The home insurance premiums can go down, and then on the flip side, the auto insurance premiums could go up. Yeah, absolutely. Just all conversations to be had.
Yeah. Well, I know I've just realized the more that I've gone, the more that I've seen in real estate, it's been so important to create a team, a team of people for preventive maintenance, and so having the preventive maintenance on insurance, you're talking about annual checkup type of thing, having a great connection with somebody in real estate, a great connection with somebody in lending, we work with attorneys, and of course there's dozens of different kinds of attorneys, but having that whole team built, not so you haven't spoken with them in 15 years until you have a problem, but so that you can say, okay, here's the complete financial picture. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here are my 5-year goals. Jonathan, how does that affect my insurance? What tweaks and adjustments need to be made?
Well, again, it comes back to conversations and what plans that you put into place. 1 degree of separation now from small planning can lead 5 years down the road to that track being a greater impact. So the key is starting early a lot of times. Right, and then readdressing and recharting course, if you will, if things change, is important. I'm going to mention team. You mentioned team again there too. Farm Bureau's team is one thing that I wanted to stress on, where you do have local service. You have a local agent assigned to you. You also have a company that's based in North Carolina. Okay, our adjusters, North Carolina. And one thing that we're proud of is we're rated and have been over the last course of several years, #1 in the crash network.
That's cool.
In the nation.
Wow.
For claims responsiveness. Wow. And then Forbes has ranked us in the top 10 the last couple of years as well, too. So we're proud of those awards. So having a good team at Farm Bureau is important, too.
Sure. Absolutely. And I know Josh and I, as we have built our business, it's nice to have somebody you can get on the phone.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Instead of the email to chat, we may or may not get back with you ever.
Yep. Yeah. Or talk to my assistant, or talk to the I'm totally with
you. Yes, that is a very valid point. While I can try to achieve to be like Genie in the bottle, poof, here's the button, I pop up, I will never be able to attain that, but we do pride ourselves on in follow-up. Hey, if you got a call, question, comment, concern, how long is it going to be before you get a call back?
Sure.
We try to do that same business day, and we pride ourselves on that, and usually the same time of the day. So if it's a morning call that's missed, we would return that call or email that same day in that morning, right?
Yeah.
That way people can have the information they're wanting to have and easily make their decisions or what they need to do. So that's important to do because I'm a consumer as well, too. I think that's important to me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I know this is switching just a little bit, but, we've got all of this crazy stuff with COVID. We've kind of come out of that. We're now in 2023. Is there anything just kind of the 30,000-foot view as far as insurance? Because you've mentioned how, and this was off camera, but insurance is predictable, it's boring, it's vanilla, and that's kind of the way we need it to be. Yeah. But do you see any big changes or adjustments just in the next 1 year, 5 years, any of that, just with your time in the industry?
Initially, when COVID came into play in early 2020, yes, there were some things that it was almost like going into an ice bath, almost like a shock to some degree, specifically in regards to life insurance and new business applications. that has now had some track record or some time for some data to be compiled.
Okay, good.
To where it's not as new anymore, I guess is a good way of saying that. To where I don't see that. You're going to continually see policies updated, maybe on the commercial side more than the personal side of insurance planning to mitigate or kind of address pandemic concerns. And those are things that insurers will update as time goes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't see anything as of right now that's like, hey, watch out. This is,
No, not from a COVID standpoint.
Okay.
I don't personally see that.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's great.
Awesome.
You have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks again so much for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. We've got the comments down below. We'll put Jonathan's contact info down there. And then, just stay tuned. We love jumping in with different experts to get to hear their opinions and hopefully be able to help you guys and give you some great information. So have a good rest of your day.
I'll see you in the next one.